Now arrives the hour of action.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it.
For depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury.
To subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws.
All experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed.
But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security.
We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
And we're going to take our country back from these people.
We will take back our constitutional God-given rights. You damn right. You damn right.
Now arrives the hour of...
You damn right. You damn right. States are profiting off the destruction of our families. What do we want? Justice! States are profiting off the destruction of our families. You damn right. States are profiting off the destruction of our families. What do we want? Justice! States are profiting off the destruction of our families.
And we're going to take our country back from these people.
You damn right. You damn right.
Now arrives the hour of action.
Welcome, everybody. So happy it's Friday. This is the Friday episode of the first annual in Clarkesville, Georgia, Remembrance of Nancy Scheafer event show, live at 5. Oh, let me get rid of this. Belinda's with us. Hello, Belinda. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing well.
Good. Great. So we've been working on a schedule. Because of you, we've been in contact with Nancy's family. And therefore, and it's a good idea anyways to have a structure to an event like this, trying to get it down to 15, 20-minute increments. And I think it's a good idea, like you said, if you tell somebody 15 minutes, usually it'll go to 20 minutes. Oh, wait, I still have the poster in front of you. Sorry, I didn't transition the screen. There, get out of studio mode. That'll help.
I can't see what you see.
I know. I wish if I could share the screen with you.
Oh, there you are.
Okay, now you can see me on Facebook.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, there's like a 10 second delay.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been working on a schedule, getting everybody who would like to speak in the schedule, getting our 5 performers scheduled, or at least written on a schedule, because the schedule may, change depending on if somebody's late or if car breaks down. You never know what could happen. One thing that I'm really excited about, and I don't want to use any names because some people may not want the world to know that they're leaving for an event. But when I describe this, a lot of you will know exactly who I'm talking about. Family is coming, right? And also, their daughter is coming. Now, she Most of you know her. Most of you seen her YouTube videos. But when she was 15, 16, she ran away from foster care. Right? Nobody could find her. The dad couldn't even find her. Put the dad in jail for months and months and months. And when the girl was, the father was eventually able to straighten it all out by the time the daughter was 18. Now that the daughter is in her 20s, she's pregnant with her first child, and guess what's happening? I'm sure you can guess. So CPS is already calling her and harassing her, even though she's not in that same county, same state, but different county. So she'll be there and hopefully speak as long as the doctor is okay with it, with her traveling. I'm really excited about that. That's, probably 95%. As long as the doctor is cool, she's cool, that'll be awesome. And I love those guys. I was able to meet all of them for the first time on my way back home from Florida, from dropping my son off back home in Florida. So everything's really coming together fantastic. There's only a few people I need to talk to as far as, being 100% and or having a title for their speech or songs. One is Mr. Kinter. You've already talked to Charles. I need to talk to John Gentry. So John, if you're out there, or Chris or Kirk, if you could give John Gentry a heads up. And then Tori Harper, who is in Tennessee. She's the one, she was on the March Us show with Connie regularly a while back, before Christmas. And she's the one with that Fox 17 clip that got, just on my profile alone, got like 170,000 views. So I'm not sure she's 100% yet, but she said she'd love to come because, Nancy's her hero. And I'm not 100% whether or not she'll want to speak, but I'm supposed to talk with her today. She said she'd call, but she hasn't called yet. And then, so performers, Joyce the Voice will be there. She'll be in D.C. the next day as well. She has 2 songs, Nancy and then Scream for Justice. And then Melanie Lee Herring performing. I'm not sure what. She hasn't been able to tell me. She's been busy. And then Corinne Featherhoff singing You Are My Sunshine. I think that's sweet. Sheila Elam is going to be performing her Punished for Protecting song, which we've all heard a lot, and I think a couple others. And then Billy Elson is going to be in attendance as well, and he has a number of songs. He's an amazing musician, and still waiting on his list of songs, but he wrote one specifically for this event called Light It Up, which might be perfect when we light the candles at the end of the event. But scheduling, we're still figuring out the schedule. What do you think about the schedule, how it's coming along, Belinda?
I think it's coming along pretty good. Everybody's been on the same page about submitting their information as to subject matter, topic matter, and then the musicians, entertainers, whatever they like to be called these days.
Yeah.
Have been very implemental in helping put together that schedule. So
good.
As long as everybody understands, there's one itinerary and everybody needs to submit and get on it.
Right.
That means you give me the info.
Yep. If you give it to me, I end up giving it to Belinda anyway. So if you want to just
or
go
give it
straight,
to Ted. Yeah. Give it to Ted. Yeah.
and then I'll give it to Belinda. But if you want to just cut the middleman, go straight to Belinda.
Because I'm the one doing this anyway.
Yeah, I'm doing some of this too, but yeah.
Oh yeah, you're a good too.
Yep. So actually, that reminds me, I have a note to call Connie regularly too. She's gonna be in Montana, but she's flying back on like Saturday night, so maybe she could make it. I'm not sure. So another interesting thing is, and I haven't asked this guy, but if you guys were watching Francesca last night, Punished for Protecting, she had this guy Micah, I forget his last name, Micah on, and he wants to bring you know, some levity, you know, some happiness, some comedy to our community, which is awesome. I played a little clip of his that's going to be up on his new YouTube channel soon. I haven't asked him. I didn't think to, but you know, I don't know if that would be appropriate if he has like an actual like act or what. But maybe I should look into that. But we're getting pretty filled up at this point. We have 20 people all together who are either performing or speaking or both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep. And that's a lot of people. We're figuring 15 to 20-minute intervals, whether you're speaking on a topic, and that's a long time for speaking.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, some of us can go forever.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us have a big mouth. We can talk a lot. But we have a lot of people who have a lot of good information. And then we have a lot of family members who really want to share what is going on currently or in the past has, you know, led them up to their appearance at Nancy's memorial. So we just want to take a minute to thank everyone who's a part of this. We know you're all coming from all over the United States. We've made the family aware of that fact. They know that this is not just a Georgia situation, and this is not just Georgia constituents coming. We're coming from all over the country because Nancy Scheafer assisted people all over the country. We have a lady in California, Kristen Hansen, who is from 10 years ago, 8 and 10 years ago, that Nancy was working with directly. There's a lot of people that were around back in the day that Nancy assisted. So we want to thank every one of you that are coming. And in your local towns, please make sure that you're posting as many local constituents in the judicial arenas and legislative. Judicial meaning your courthouses, lawyers, and judges that are in your local community. Also, your local legislative reps. Make sure you're going on Facebook. Make sure you're friending these people. Make sure you're tagging them about this event, because this is how we go global. This is how we go nationwide. A lot of people I've noticed, because I've been on your pages, you're not tagging your local lawyers. I mean, we're all very good Facebook stalkers.
Mm-hmm.
Some
more than others, but yeah.
So stalk your local lawyers and stalk your local judges, not in a mean way. Don't post threats or any of that. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about making your local community aware of what you're going through and where you're at with what you need locally. You'll be amazed at the local response that you get.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at the comments and trying to reply. Rebecca, there's a lady in Plant City. So that Plant City's pretty close to Orlando. She's looking for carpoolers from Orlando. And I'm trying to, can't spell city for some reason. There we go. I'm trying to get in touch with Chris Hallett. I know he wants to go. It's not confirmed. It would be great for him to come up and sorry, I had my head behind the emblem. It would be great for him to come up and talk about E-Clause, the negative nexus, and all of that. Because it's about emoluments, bad emoluments. A good emolument, if you don't know, is like the governor's paycheck, the governor's salary. A bad emolument is the incentives used to take children from families. It's also the incentives used to create non-custodial parents to pay child support. Another part of that bad emolument is when they have any amount of money in that child support pool, they don't disperse it right away. They keep it in the bank to collect interest for a week. That's another bad emolument. You know, they have no right to make money off of us in any way except for their salaries and what we agree to. That's the law. There's no legal right to do anything other than what the law says. And Chris has moved from, you know, everybody a year ago was talking about RICO actions. But with a RICO, there's no way to collect, you know, there's no way to seek redress, financial redress, seek damages with a RICO lawsuit. So in Chris's research, he brought up emoluments, which hasn't been used in 200 years. And it's right there in the Constitution. And I know the family court side of things, who listens to Kirk's Law Corner, and which Chris Hallett is on, it's making strides on that end of things, and bringing it over to the CPS side. It's the exact same bad emoluments as the other side. And like I keep saying, if one side of family law has jurisdiction over families, the other side has jurisdiction over families. The goal being to remove or relieve some of that jurisdiction in the long run. You're trying to drive up, Melina Marcos. I like that last name, Marcos. Trying to drive up with my family. Where are you in? Are you in Florida as well? There's Martha Nichols just posted. Let's see. So yeah, Rebecca, hook up with Chris. You and Chris need to drive up together. And maybe Melinda Marcos could convoy with you guys. She's saying drive up. So I'm assuming she's south, which the only state south of Georgia is Florida. So I'm assuming Melina must be in Florida. There's also a couple of guys down in Tampa who I met at that Tampa rally I put together. Donnie Castro, he's around Tampa, and a couple other people I should get in touch with. Davey. Yes. Right, Davey. I forget his last name. But I'll get in touch with them. So, what do we need from the stragglers? I mentioned, all right, we have to get in touch with Chris Hallett, get him on the schedule, see if he's coming. John Gentry, Brian Kinter, and then a title for Randy Davis.
I think we're going to have to close the forum down by Monday.
Yeah.
Because there are people legislatively and in the direct community that we have to present we want to present some type of formal invitation and layout as to who's going to be there, what's going to be going on. So I would like to close the door on Monday, Tuesday at the very latest. So I'm not a last minute person on this kind of stuff.
Right.
So we have to be mindful of other people's schedules that are there in Georgia.
Right.
We've got people on standby who are waiting for printed flyers that I'm going to have sent over.
Right.
Martha Nichols is going to help with that. And there's two other ladies that I'm not aware. They're there locally, I think, that are doing flyers on their own.
Okay.
However, they don't have our itinerary, our schedule, our agenda for the day. So I have to have that stuff. I'm going to say Monday right now, because most people need a 2-week notice to schedule for a weekend event to be present. So it's not just about us, it's about the community there as well.
Right. Yeah, some people do work on Sundays, and I'm sure if they knew about it and they could take the day off to come to this event, they would. So that's what we're trying to do. And we also want to leave a little bit of time just in case somebody who knew her locally decides to speak when we're there. We're going
to hold special windows and make special accommodations for people who do come from local the last minute.
Right.
And I'm sure we may have to juggle at the last minute while we're there as well.
Right.
If someone doesn't show, we'll handle that at that time.
Yeah.
But for the purpose of formal presentation to local legislative representatives, that has to be in a formal agenda if my hands are on it.
Beautiful.
Okay, so
Martha Nichols says, Belinda, after that you can then get with Joy Purcell to do the interview that we'll post to Now Habersham. So that's right, you're doing an interview with a local radio person, or is it just, I don't really know the full details.
I believe they're local news there, their social media, and they have a local newspaper, I believe is what Martha's saying.
I see.
But I have not heard from anyone from there, Martha, yet.
Well, yeah.
So, if you can call them, since that's your local connection, I'm on standby. So.
Mm-hmm. And if she wants it broadcast live, let me know, and I'll find her graphics or whatever and put it up. If she has a YouTube channel, I could broadcast to her YouTube channel.
This is a local newspaper, I believe.
Newspaper, okay.
So it's not. I believe that's right. It's not it's a reporter for the newspaper. Is my understanding. Martha, correct me if I'm wrong.
So it's an interview for written.
Right.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct.
That's great, though.
Yeah. Thank you, Martha. Martha Nichols is all over this.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like a little angel that just floated down from heaven and said, "Hello, what do y'all need?"
It's true. It really is.
I do believe.
Yep. I was really hoping to find somebody locally to help us, a member of our community, and there she was. She had a rough start at the beginning because she doesn't know everybody, and we have late at night, even on Facebook, late at night, you might run into a wackadoodle, let's say, doing a live stream or something and not saying the most appropriate things. Luckily, I haven't run into anything like that, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. And so Martha ran into something that really seemed very off to her, and it really put her out to the community as a whole, unfortunately. But luckily, I was able to get in touch with her, and I'm really, now she's helping, everything's cool, and I can't wait to meet you, Martha. I'm really looking forward to this event and meeting you and seeing all my friends again and meeting new friends. So, what else do we have going on? The schedule's coming together. If you need to speak, make sure to get with Belinda before Monday. Like tonight, right now.
Well, I do not work on the Sabbath.
Oh, okay.
That is begins tonight.
Oh, it does. I don't know.
And goes till tomorrow night, not Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday is church day.
Sunday's church day.
Anyway, that's what the Bible says anyway.
Right. And we have to turn our clocks ahead Sunday.
Oh, we do?
Don't forget. Yep. Spring ahead. Yep.
Oh, wow.
It's already here. Unless you're Arizona, and then you don't have to.
Yeah. Arizona never does anything but chills and gets sunburnt.
All right.
So some of us are going to be there prior to the 25th. We'll have a meeting place for afterwards, I'm sure. Yep. Maybe on the 25th. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, we'll probably figure that all out once we're there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, a lot of usually Ed is on. This is the first time Ed hasn't called in for Live at 5 so far. But back at the treehouse, back at the campground, we may we could all just head back there, have a big like cookout, smorgasbord or board, or we can all go out, you know, to a local restaurant and have dinner together.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't. That's something I wanted to call around and get some different ideas, but haven't done that yet.
I'm not sure how big Clarksville is, but if I remember correctly, I did a population search. And I think they're at about 2,000 people for the whole town.
Oh, is it? Is it that?
Well, it was 1,700 in 2010 was the census for Clarksville. So, plus it is a very Bible Beltish area. They may not be open very late on a Sunday evening. Restaurants.
Oh, even restaurants. That's right.
That. So, yeah, we
see.
definitely need to keep that in mind.
I better research that then.
Yes.
Pretty quick, yeah.
I'm not sure how big Clarksville.
It's a beautiful town. It's got a really nice downtown, you know, old-timey theater, you know, old school style theater, movie theater.
Right.
But in 2015, a restaurant, or apparently 2 different restaurants caught on fire. So one, like not quite half, but maybe a third of the downtown burned down, and they just finished rebuilding it. There's extra parking and stuff. But yeah, that downtown area of Clarksville is where anybody north of Clarksville, especially like Turnerville, where Nancy lived, and other outlying towns, would come to go out to eat, to go see a movie.
Right.
You know.
Well, that was her territory.
Stomping grounds, yeah.
Yes, that was her stomping ground. So I'm really hoping that we we get a lot of favorable community responses there in Clarksville and in the district that she served.
Yeah.
So we're still reaching out to Republican parties over their affiliations, because there's more than one. You've got youth Republican parties, you've got the women's Republican Party affiliations. There's a lot. So people, this is why I really need that information. I'm going to go ahead right now. I'm going to say Monday. Please have that to me Sunday and Monday. Tomorrow I'm off.
Yep. Cool.
So I really want to make sure that everyone that is wanting to be there, knows they're going to be there, are on the list, the schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. So get in touch with Belinda immediately if you have any interest in speaking, because we're pretty much at capacity already, but we could probably fit a couple of people in if you get on it right now. So with that being said, if there's nothing further, then we can end this at a half an hour, and hopefully people will watch it over the weekend, because the next Live at 5 will be Monday at 5 o'clock Eastern. I'm taking the weekend off. Everybody cool with that? There is, Rebecca says, we'll check on flights. Could someone be able to pick me up at the airport? Yeah, if you're there, I'll be in the area Friday in Atlanta, and then the following day on Saturday, Francesca's flying in, Jeff Morgan's flying in, Laura Thompson's flying in, and they're renting cars, so I could connect you with somebody if you want to fly in, Rebecca. No worries, okay? Just let me know ASAP. And then Joyce, restaurants may be closed early on a Sunday night. Yep, especially there. Hey, Jennifer Fieldman, Monroe. Hope you're having a good week. Martha says, small town, so small that in these small counties you don't even have to be a lawyer to be a probate or magistrate judge. That's interesting. There there is no law that says you have to go to law school to be a lawyer, or even to be on the Supreme Court, to be a judge. There was still, up until 1948, there was still a Supreme Court justice that never went to law school.
Well, in most states, you have to, if you're registered with a state bar, you do have to go to law school, but there are some states that still have a read the law statutes.
Right.
Where you can read the law, but you have to be working under the hand of an attorney, blah, blah, blah. You do not have to be a lawyer in order to be a judge in a lot of places nationwide. Yeah.
That's curious, isn't it?
So, I mean, look at Cash.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's running for governor.
Right. He's not.
He's basically a retired veteran who is in it to win it. And wish you well in case you're watching.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is he has the background, the 20-year military background. He has that kind of service. The kahuna. He's got balls. The guy's got balls, and he has that military mentality where I've always, in the not so distant past, gave him the benefit of the doubt because he was in the military for so freaking long, and so that kind of makes a person sort of understand, like, the process of the way things go in the military world is kind of very scheduled. Like, we're trying to make this schedule, Yeah. Where the civilian world, I'm very laid back, and I don't always schedule things. The show I do by, the seat of my pants and yada yada. I do as much preparation as I need. And I recently called Cass Jackson and congratulated him on his nomination myself. We hadn't talked in a while. But I really thought that he would get this far. It's not even surprising that he got the nomination, and I think he has a chance. I mean, the Republican Party has a lot of money, and they're going to be putting out a lot of ads. But as long as he stays boots on the ground and really focuses on this, I think it's possible that we could have a family law reform community advocate as a governor. And when you think about, like, we've lost Nancy Scheafer, right? And we're trying to find somebody like her to help us. We had what we needed, and she was in an untimely manner taken from us. And when you think about it, if Mr. Jackson is successful in his race for governor, we have somebody in a place of political power who has our best interests at heart. Some people might disagree with some points, but we can't just let it. It's so much harder to go to a governor and be like, "Hey, we want you to be this way. We want you to understand us." We have him who already knows us, and I hope to God he wins. I mean, it's just going to make our life easier. Whether you like him or you dislike him, it's good for us. So it's good for all of us.
That's right.
That's all I have to say about that.
And that was pretty good, Ted.
Thank you.
That was really good. Yeah. And it's true. It's all true. I mean, he's walked and trekked all across the United States, just like I have, and a lot of us have. He's relatively new that I'm aware of. And when I say new, I mean 3, maybe 4 years. I'm not really sure of the years he's been involved. I do know of at least possibly 3. I met him a couple of years ago in D.C., which is where I met you.
Yep,
and a lot of other new people.
Right, I'm definitely considered new.
I've been around for a minute in a lot of these situations and reform movements, so I've seen a lot of people come and I've seen a lot of people go.
Right.
So
that's one thing that Nancy's family mentioned is somebody had contacted them about doing a 10-year anniversary in that area in remembrance of Nancy Scheafer, and you know, if anybody's wondering why I'm doing this now, it's because I've only been part of this community, it's been less than 2 years. So the first time I heard of Nancy Scheafer was a little over a year ago, and I went to the DC Remembrance of Nancy Scheafer in 2017, learned more about her, and since then learned more. So the reason why we're doing this at the 8th anniversary, or the 8 years later, is because if I was involved 3 years ago, we would have done it probably 2 years ago, you know.
Well, I think it's a matter of ordination.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy was very much a woman of God.
Yes.
She really understood what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
She listened to the people. She took the problem to higher levels, which is what you're supposed to do when you're a legislative individual, when you're in Congress. So she did her job.
Mm-hmm.
The lady did her job. And
right.
If we had more Nancy Scheafers, like you just said, male or female, bringing forth the problem and spearheading it, you know, things would have happened faster.
Yes.
You know, without going into her death, when she died, you know, any facts or alleged facts. When she did die, a big torch was snuffed out.
Mm-hmm. It was
snuffed out because people got scared. You know, a lot of people went bye-bye because they were in fear because of the situation and alleged facts.
Mm-hmm.
But now is the time. This is an obvious come back to life time.
Yeah.
For her works on a bigger platform. And like you said, you know, it's amazing that we had someone who was so diligent and so focused.
Yeah.
Because primarily that's all she spoke about was CPS cases.
For a while there. Yeah.
For the last few years of her life. So it's just it's an ordination. Yep. This is an ordained thing. This is not something you pulled a rabbit out of the hat and said, "Oh, I think I want to do this."
Right.
You were chosen, and a lot of other people have been chosen to come forth and do this.
Yeah.
None of us woke up one day and said, "Oh, we want to be family advocates."
Right.
We didn't do that. We are doing what we're doing because we're affected.
Mm-hmm.
So, having said that, we're thankful that we can all come together, that we have social media, and that we can rekindle this torch that she had and pick that baton back up. And that's what we're doing. This is what we're doing with this event here. It has nothing to do with how she died or whatever, any of that. It has to do with what she did while she was alive.
Exactly.
And that's what we're going to concentrate on.
Right. Because this is what I've told people, and might as well say it here if you're wondering why we don't want to get into how she died. Is if you think about it this way, you have a mother and and a father, right? Remember how she died. All right. It was considered a murder-suicide. So no matter what we say, the family members have to think about that. Think about how powerful that is when
it's your mother and father.
Right. And we don't want to focus on their father killed their mother. That's not what we want to focus this on. So I said it here, and let's leave it at that. We want to celebrate her life as much as possible, and in doing so, try to get more support like her. I'm really hoping that Georgia could be an area of a huge amount of support. I know we have the family's blessing and the family support with this event, and we have the Habersham County Sheriff, his support. He's going to be in attendance. So these are steps in the right direction, and we keep this positive. We keep it a celebration of life and a candlelight vigil for her. No conspiracy talk. I don't even like that word, conspiracy. I try never to use it.
We've been we have been directly requested, you and I both, I believe you were told the same, that there would like to have no talk of the facts or any alleged facts of the passing away. And that's the way we're going to keep it. Because that's out of respect for the families.
Exactly.
The family members there who are local.
Very gracious of them to actually figure out who is involved in this themselves and reach out to Belinda, who they already knew because Nancy knew Belinda well, and they talked on a regular basis. So I just feel very fortunate that they've contacted us. We have their blessing. They'll be involved as much as they want to be. Of course, they're welcome to speak, to come to speak, everything, and that's why we're making this a little bit more structured. Because, like I said, the events that I put on are usually a little bit informal, but this is the biggest one so far, minus the Million Para March. But so this has potential to help us in a larger capacity in the future. So I'm really excited that with Belinda's help, it's gone a lot further than I expected already, and we'll get the schedule down, and with that schedule, the family members can be like, oh, okay, this lady Laura Thompson will be talking about mediation. She's a professional mediator, and how mediation could replace some actual trials, some court proceedings. Having a mediator telling you what's expected of you as a newly single parent on the family court side, and even mediation in CPS. I mean, some situations, if the parent did do something bad, let's say they're drinking too much or doing drugs or something horrible, this is a wake-up call. CPS gets in your life and they change their life around. There's a girl I know, Tiffany, who did just that, and the process of getting back your child, before they get fostered out is impossible because of the incentives. And there are success stories. We should be incentivizing getting parents help, telling them what's expected of them as a parent. If they've got into drugs, rehabilitating them, and the incentive should be to get that family back together. If we're going to incentivize anything, it should be that. But those are the worst case scenarios, or maybe not the worst, but one of the worst ones, when a parent gets into drugs, and it's a horrible situation, and that parent usually does need a wake-up call.
Well, I don't know what they're going to do when they've legalized marijuana in 50 states.
Yeah, I know.
So they're going to give all those kids back they took over marijuana?
Right. It's
God.
interesting, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it's horrible.
I just talked to the coach. I found his card here. Kevin Christie, he's a Vermont House representative, and I asked him, did they finally make it recreational in Vermont? And he said, yes, they sure did. And so it's been in the back of my mind. Wow. I don't even know where it's not like it's in the stores. But
that's that is a whole nother show in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were a parent or parents, say you tested dirty for marijuana only.
Right.
are they going to give you your kids back? Like, can I have them back now?
Yeah, I know.
How does this play out in the legal field? And I'm saying this to tickle the minds of people who are actually watching right now, because absolutely 100%, a lot of parents have had their children removed, not because of alcohol, not because of meth,
right,
or cocaine. I mean, you don't even hear the word cocaine much anymore. Now it's meth. But these parents who have had their kids taken away in the last 6 months or 12 months for marijuana, what really?
What's going on with that? Yeah.
What's going to happen? I mean, are they going to have to give the kids back when it's legalized or recreationally legalized?
Yeah, if your story involves that,
smell
please.
some bills of review coming up.
Yeah, I know it. If your situation involves that, like Belinda is saying, please get in touch with me. I'd like to hear it. And when I get the regular show back up and doing it regular interviews again, I'd love to interview you.
Well, a lot of people don't know this about me that are in the reform movement right now.
Yeah.
I would say the last 5 years of new people who have come into the different movements, whether it's the CPS exposition movements, the fathers' rights movements, anything pertaining to custody of their kids.
Right.
A lot of these people don't know that I'm actually a legal professional. This is not something, I mean, I've been in the legal field since I was 22 years old.
Amazing.
I'm hit 50.
Oh, I just saw a comment from Aaron White. Yeah. Aaron's here in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
He says, mediation doesn't work. It doesn't work now. Remember,
it works sometimes.
Yeah.
We do mediations all the time.
Right.
50 years young.
It depends on who your lawyer is.
Right. And the thing is if that was the standard, if that was the go-to and not court, and it would be a completely different thing. This is how your perception of something is based on what's around you now. If we are to fundamentally change this process, mediation would be at the center, not the courts at the center. You understand?
Well, in the state of Texas, in most counties, mediation is required prior to final divorce hearings.
Right.
And a lot of times the judges, especially here in Harris County, will make the parents go to mediation.
Right.
I mean, they'll order it right at the bench.
Right.
So I don't, I know about some other states, but I can specifically speak on the state of Texas.
Sure. Yeah.
Mediation is a big deal here.
Yes. But it's
still. Don't ever sign a mediated settlement agreement unless you're 100% in agreement with what's in there.
Right.
Because you'd have to prove you had a gun held to your head to get out of an MSA.
Right.
It's near impossiple.
That's another thing. Don't sign anything unless you're 100%.
Unless that's what you want.
Right. And
go to trial. Go to trial.
Because that's what I got. I got trapped into the same thing, and that's why people say mediation doesn't work. The only help I got in mediation was call a lawyer. I didn't have money for a lawyer. I had no interest in getting a lawyer. Eventually I did, but I signed that in the mediation under duress because I had no idea what I was doing, and I just wanted to see my son.
And a lot of people think you have to sign the mediated agreements in order to see your children, but that's not true.
That's not true.
It's not true. We'll talk about that later, but it's not true. It's true. It's true if you believe it, and that's what you go forth believing.
Right. Clark thinks it's a swap meet. Yeah.
I'll hit on that later.
Cool. Yeah, that's the thing is if you watched let's see, the Steelworkers Union, the president addressed, I forget the guy's name who spoke, but the head of the union up there, they want to reform trade, and cut down on international trade. And people are like, well, it's going to lead to a trade war possibly, yada, yada, yada. And you have to keep in mind, when you're used to something, when you're used to a certain process, the way it's been for a number of years, even though it might have been different 50 years ago, the perception of what something might be if things are changed are one way because you only know it from this. It's the same thing with trade, you know what? It might be great to cut off a lot of the international trade. I would love to see Pittsburgh steel, Pittsburgh aluminum, or, you know, coming back. I mean, that was the best steel ever. I don't know if you've... I'm a bit of a tool collector. I used to be when I was a contractor, and the difference in hand tools alone made with steel from Pittsburgh is incredibly different. It's like a flawless diamond that you'd get at a jeweler and something you get out of a catalog. All, you know, it's night and day. So remember, quality. If we're to keep things in America, we wouldn't be as much of a throwaway country as we are now, where you buy something at Walmart and it breaks in a year, you throw it, you get another one. If you buy something made in America, I think the idea is you keep it for life. You know, that's the difference. You wouldn't be out buying it again. You'd have it for the rest of your... That's kind of the difference, and that's what I'm trying to make people understand with family law now. As we're making changes, what we perceive is now and doesn't work now, like mediation, it'll be completely different. It'll be it'll
like a craftsman's tool.
Right. Mediation then would be the main tool, not the court. You understand? So if you say, yeah, mediation doesn't work, yeah, it doesn't work necessarily the way it is now, but we make it the way it should be, and then it works. So that's that. All right, guys, we're 52 minutes we've been live. I thought we'd have another short one, like a half an hour, but here we are.
No, never be short.
No. Ed did finally join us.
You have to use that timer.
All right. Yeah, well, it's a nice thing about this is, you know, we can talk about anything. When you're writing a speech, and I've done a few now, it's amazing how many pages you may write and how quick it goes. 15 minutes of talking, that's a lot of paper.
I learned that in public speaking 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, 6 minutes feels like 2.
Right.
But yeah. So I wanted to ask one more question.
Yeah.
So people who are listening to this and current speakers and current musicians can chime in, because I'm sure there's some musicians that may want to speak as well in some capacity. Yeah. So
doesn't that kind of go with like if you're performing, doesn't that kind of include like a few words automatically, or are you talking they might want to like perform and then speak at a later time type of thing?
Either way, however it works out, but yeah, the music will be clumped together in 15, 20, 30-minute sessions to give people a chance to mingle and socialize. Cool. Just different various things. Who's this handsome man on my screen?
Oh, this is Ed.
Who?
Ed Elliott.
Ed Elliott.
Hi, Ed.
Hey.
So how are you, sir?
Yeah, all I wanted to say about this all is 10 years ago when she did her speech made a big change, and then 2 years later she wound up dying on us. An angel watching over all of us.
Yeah, so you were there and you understand the impact of what she was doing, having.
I worked the opposite side. I worked at the opposite side at one point in time. Mm-hmm. Right after her passing is when I lost my granddaughter. So I'm really upset about it.
Yeah.
Because it was less than 3 months later.
Yeah. Understood.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've had both sides of it. So
that's why we're doing this event, is to honor what she did and to rekindle that flame nationwide.
Right.
So.
And Ed's a huge help in the event. He is renting a large van or small bus, depending on how you want to word it. Picking up, he's going all the way from Pennsylvania to Connecticut to pick up Joyce. He's going to Billy's house to pick up his keyboard, his amplifier, his mic. So, Ed, I thank you so much, and of course you're welcome to come on the show like you do every day, if this is more comfortable for you. I kind of felt weird without you at the beginning, so.
Yeah, I heard that. That's why I jumped on.
So
normally my Facebook's been acting up, so.
Oh, okay. I can't thank you enough for all the help you're giving us, and
only in God's power that we all can do what we're doing.
Right. And Francesca Amato Banfield and her group Punished for Protecting has brought a lot of these performers together, like Sheila and Billy, Melanie, Corinne. That's all Punished for Protecting, and through their meetings they've organized and helped a lot. And the community's really come together. And of course, you, Belinda, one of the first people I met in the family rights movement back in 2016. Yep, one of my favorite people, Belinda Hastings
Puntanen.
Puntanen.
Those are two maiden names, Hastings-Puntanen.
Those are two main. Okay, it's a hyphenated
My grandmother's
name.
and my mother's.
Oh. See, my full name is Theodore Edward Davidson Fogg. In the state of Maine, in the 70s, you couldn't hyphenate a last name. So they made Davidson a middle name instead of a hyphenated name. Well, we do have a caller. Let's see who this caller is. 5907. Hello, 5907. You are on live at 5. Who are we speaking with, please? All right. 5907. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's me.
Hey, me who?
It's Joyce.
Oh, hey, Joyce.
I just recognize my exchange by now.
Sometimes it depends. You know, there's a little bit background noise. It's if it was just you and me on the phone, I'd probably recognize it.
When I moved to Connecticut, I forgot I never changed my area code from New York.
Oh, it's in New York, right?
So I'm tricking you. Okay.
Yeah. I still
anyway.
have a Florida number, so I do the same thing.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. I wanted to remember I said I print out the songs, but now it's becoming a bigger thing, and I would be willing to print out, make a pamphlet or something like with the itineraries and everything on it and the songs. And if somebody has the music, like if they want the lyrics printed to the songs, I can do all that. I can make like a little packet to hand out to people.
Oh, I see. At the event. So if you wanted to pass out something that had the lyrics, like the words all written down, you mean?
And the itinerary, if you wouldn't want to make it like inclusive, like make a little booklet, like, or I don't know. I mean,
right.
I would have to know by
it.
the end of next week.
And you'd print them up there at your local courthouse, right?
Yeah, up here, I would assemble. Yeah, you know where I would print them up. You've been there.
Well, yeah, let's talk.
Secret.
That's a fine idea. A booklet at the event to pass out. That's a nice idea. I like that.
But,
what do you think, Belinda?
As far as, well, I wouldn't be in charge of the organizing of the day, but I am offering the assembling of this, if this is something you think would be nice to hand out.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about it some more. What do you think, Belinda?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. If you're going to do it in booklet style, I mean, I don't know how many performers we're going to have yet. I think there's almost 10 or 7 on the list, Ted.
I think it's 5. Well,
5,
just performers. So yeah, we have Joyce, obviously, who's calling in right now. Sheila, Melanie, Corinne, and Billy Elson. But there was somebody just last night. What?
Sheila?
Yeah, I said Sheila.
I didn't hear that. Okay.
Yeah, but there's somebody sent me a video last night. I shared it last night, but they didn't give me much information. It was a little bit kind of dead end. And I asked them if they wanted to come perform. They said yes, but it just the conversation kind of ended. So I have to find that person. So there might be six performers if this lady.
Slavin.
What?
Slavin.
What about Robert Slavin?
That's the other person that had that video on last night.
No, it was a girl who sent me a video. Somebody I've never met before.
Okay.
Robert isn't coming, is he?
I don't know. I just seen him on there doing songs last night.
Yeah, that's what he went to Full Sail in Florida. That's a school that I looked at way back when. So that's what he does professionally is music and mixing. So he always says, not always, but at least once a week he puts out a video of something he's working on.
So,
Joyce, go ahead.
Joyce, Monday, like I said, I'm gonna shut it down on Monday. Everybody needs to have what they're doing and what they propose to speak on by Monday, and then by Tuesday I can forward you after Ted approves it and all of that good stuff in final format, and you can put the lyrics on the end part.
Okay. So I'm waiting for, I still haven't spoken to the Ebenezer Baptist Church, and I also contacted the Bethlehem Baptist Church of Clarksville. So I'm waiting to hear from both of them. Right. So, but that won't change the fact that I'm going to do my Nancy song regardless, come hell or high water, and I have all the other performers that can work on it with me.
There you go.
Can do it with me. Yeah. So, but I really wanted it to be very special, but we could still do it very special without them. And so the two songs, I think the performers, because we have a separate email, not email, a separate group, so we can talk about things that way, perhaps. I don't know, maybe somehow have a conference call or something, or I don't know, do something.
Yeah, it'll
in the next week or two.
It's a little message group put together for the performers just to get to know each other and work details out like that. If you guys want to perform different songs together, fantastic. Collaborate,
because I really think that my song Nancy is a tribute song, and I really think we should make that really a special song.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have to sing it alone. I could sing it alone, but I think it'd have more power with more people.
Yep.
I'm wondering if that should be the introductory song prior to the speakers.
That's not a bad idea. What do you think?
Well, the thing is because I want to invite the choirs, and it's Palm Sunday. That's an issue. So I was thinking later in the day, like around 3 in the afternoon or something, 4 in the afternoon, something like that, where it would be something that they can attend.
Right.
Yeah, because everyone's going to be
Palm
doing.
Sunday is a long service too, because I don't know Catholic Church, I don't know Baptist, but we do the whole reading of the Passion and everything. So.
Yeah, I remember it being longer on Palm Sunday.
Yeah.
But I think they're pretty much done by 12 noon.
Yeah.
I'm from the East Coast, Southern Baptist Belt.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm Catholic, so I don't know.
So odds are they'll start maybe earlier, but they'll pretty much always sew it up by 1 o'clock.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of churches may have lunch at the church afterwards. I know the Episcopal Church in Florida I went to on Palm Sunday, or maybe it was Ash. I don't know which day, but they a lot of times they'd have lunch afterwards.
So if we could just maybe do it in the middle, like at the halfway point or something like that, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what we're working on.
And then have a break, and then the rest of the day.
There you go.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it all out.
At the end of the first half.
End of the first half.
Something like that.
All right, halftime. Sounds good, Joyce.
Just an idea. And then I have my other 2 songs that I wanted to do, but I could do those separately, because I don't want the Nancy song to be about me. It's not about me. I'm performing, but the song is about Nancy. So,
right.
And the other song, that song, Ted. You sang it with us.
That's right.
I Scream for Justice.
Right. I scream.
So, yes.
We all scream. For justice.
And so those are group songs. Yeah.
For justice and liberty.
Oh, that's right. I forgot
Yeah.
that. So, yeah, that's where I
Yes,
met
you
Ed.
did.
Ed came or
Yeah.
drove
Been
over.
practicing.
Yes. All right, guys. Well, we're over time.
You
We're at
remember the
one.
words. That's awesome.
We are over time at 1
Okay.
hour 6 minutes. So thank you, Joyce, for calling in. Ed, thank you
Thank
for.
you so much, Ted and Belinda. Thank you so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Joyce.
And Ed, are you
talk-
still there?
Yeah, Ed's here always.
Oh, Ed, we'll have to touch base, definitely.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Joyce.
All right.
Thank you, Ed,
All right,
very
bye-bye.
much. All right.
You guys have a blessed night.
You too. Thank you, Joyce, for calling. Thank you, Ed, for being here, and Belinda. Really appreciate you staying on during the show and helping get everything organized. Can't thank you enough.
You're welcome. No problem.
So everybody, will see you Monday, live at 5. Bye-bye. If you guys want to hang out for a second, I'll end this and we can talk afterwards.
Now
concludes
the hour of action.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it.
For depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury.
To subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws.
All experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed.
But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security.
We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
And we're going to take our country back from these people.